heartbreaking because, the stakes of this game and what could have been. But we're going to talk about it here in a second. Before we do, guys, just want to say this episode is presented by Prize Picks. Be sure to download the app today and use the code JUICE to get a $50 bet instantly when you do your first $5 lineup. This has been a rough one, man. Colts lose 20-23. I mean, you had every ample opportunity to win this game, and this was just an absolutely atrocious game by the Indianapolis Colts. I mean, I don't even know where to begin. I really don't. Let's just say first and foremost, outside of Jonathan Taylor and Josh Downs, offensively, nobody else showed up to play football today. None. Quentin Nelson had 3 false start penalties on him today. The offense in general, I mean, the Colts in general, pretty sure had 9 penalties, if I'm not mistaken. At least 8 that resulted in almost 100 yards in total. I mean, the Colts really killed themselves today with the penalties. Because on the few drives where they actually did good today, the penalties kept sending them back. Even at the end, when you had a chance to get the ball at the 20-yard line or something and put yourself in a good position to handle things, you have a block in the back and you end up putting yourself all the way inside the 10-yard line. I mean, it's the mental mistakes. That first drive in the second half, you were going down the field. You were about to score, and you put yourself inside the 10. Michael Pittman has a block as a holding. I mean, the amount of times that the Colts were unable to capitalize on drives because of penalties or put themselves in bad situations because of penalties shows an undisciplined football team. It's undisciplined. You got to not make those kinds of plays. And especially 3 false starts from your best offensive lineman. That's inexcusable. That has to be so much better. And it put you behind the 8 ball so many times. And let's go into it. Again, let's start it with the good ones. Jonathan Taylor, 20 carries today, 105 yards, 1 touchdown. Amazing day today from Jonathan Taylor. My only regret is that he didn't run the ball more. I mean, he ran the ball 5 less times than Joe Mixon and got more yards. So Jonathan Taylor was extremely underutilized today. You had your quarterback throw the ball 12 more times than Jonathan Taylor touched it today. And not even including the runs that Richardson had to make, you extremely underutilized Jonathan Taylor. Again, Jonathan Taylor averaged over 5 yards a carry in this game. And the lack of willingness to give the ball to Jonathan Taylor is absolutely extraordinary. Again, Jonathan Taylor in the first half had 8 carries for 36 yards. I mean, that's unacceptable. It's unacceptable. You should not be giving Jonathan Taylor 8 carries in the first half, especially when your offense was looking for a spark and you had nothing. You had nothing. Nothing was working for you. But yet somehow, some way, you chose to not run the football. And real quick before I get into everything else, Josh Downs, phenomenal day. 4 catches, 109 yards, a touchdown, almost had 2. Even on 10 targets, only 4 catches. So it was very bad today from a lot of different perspectives. But let's go to the biggest problems of the day. So you had three big issues here with the Indianapolis Colts. Shane Steichen, Anthony Richardson, offensive line. I mean, again, I'm not putting them in any particular order. I would say it's Anthony Richardson mostly, Steichen a very close second, and then the offensive line a very close third. I'd say it's about 50% Richardson, 30% Steichen, 20% offensive line. I give offensive line the benefit of the doubt because they have been good this year for the most part, and the Texans were blitzing the hell out of Richardson in this game. And the Colts did not adjust. But, I mean, this was absolutely this was one of the most disappointing games that I have ever watched from an offensive standpoint. First of all, for Steichen, the fact that the Colts are so uncreative for about 2.5 quarters of football every single game concerns the hell out of me, dude. Like, you are incapable as an offensive play caller outside of maybe 3 or 4 drives a game being able to get your quarterback to be able to do things that opens things up for you. You, as a play caller, need to take into account the strengths of your quarterback and need to be able to utilize that in a way that helps your team win. And you're not doing that right now with Anthony Richardson. You are not making it easier for Anthony Richardson to move the ball down the field. Anthony Richardson is already struggling with inaccuracies. At times struggles with knowing where to go to the ball when there's pressure coming. And you are incapable as an offensive play caller to get your quarterback to understand how to give him easier access. There's so many times where I'm looking at this game and I'm like, why are we throwing the ball deep every play? It feels like every throw has to be 10, 15, 20, 30, 40 yards. Instead of just these simple routes that get you 4 or 5 yards to keep things consistent. You're throwing the ball consistently on first down, and when that results in an incompletion, you are constantly putting yourself behind the 8 ball. You are constantly putting yourself at a disadvantage by putting yourself in 2nd and 10 or longer when your team gets a penalty called on you, and then Richardson has to get 8, 9, 10, 11 yards on the next play just to be able to keep you going. And then on 3rd down, it feels like every attempt to throw the ball is going 40 yards down the field. I don't know if that's an Anthony Richardson problem. I don't know if that's a Shane Steichen problem. But it is blatantly obvious that whatever scheme Steichen is running with Anthony Richardson, it's not working. And again, like, not running the ball more than 8 times in the first half. Like, when Richardson was like 2 of 6 and then proceeded to miss his next 9 completions. And you chose every single opportunity you had to not run the football. That is mismanagement at the absolute highest. And then on top of it, again, when we talk about that interception that Anthony Richardson threw at the end of the first half, you were tied 10-10, down at the 15. And you had every opportunity. The clock was running. The Texans weren't calling timeouts. But yet you chose to throw a pass with 20 seconds left on a 3rd and 8 from the 15-yard line, and you chose to have him throw in a set where you had it's like a shock G option where it's like one guy runs a curl, another one on the other side runs like a curl, maybe an out route or a slant, and He decided to throw the curl route, and the safety hopped it through the interception, and then the next play, the Texans scored a touchdown, which inevitably, if we look back at this game, cost you the football game because you only lost by 3 and you were down by 7 at halftime. You gave up 6 points in the second half. You scored 10 in the second half. You would have won had, or at least at the bare minimum, would have gotten a chance to be in overtime to win this game. Because, God forbid, the Houston Texans would have gotten a field goal at the end of that first half. This game still would have been going into overtime potentially. You would have had a chance. But no, because Shane Steichen decided that it was a smart idea to throw the ball on a 3rd and 8 at your own 15-yard line when you knew you weren't going for the touchdown or even a field goal at that point, and you put your quarterback in that situation. This is what I'm talking about. This does not excuse Anthony Richardson making that play. Anthony Richardson is at fault for making that throw. He is at fault for that. And I'm not going to discredit it. But why did Shane Steichen put him in that situation to begin with? There was no reason for it. You could have ran the ball and had around 20 seconds, maybe less. And God forbid, Texans would have called a timeout. You'd have around 20 seconds. You punted, they have about 15 or so seconds to make a play. And it would have been, I mean, God forbid, yeah, maybe they might have gotten a field goal. So what? That was a terrible execution of play calling by Shane Steichen. Shane Steichen is calling a terrible offensive game plan with Anthony Richardson, because there are 3 or 4 drives every game, folks, where Anthony Richardson looks dead on. And then after that, they look like they're running the motions out there. And it's pissing me off. Now to Anthony Richardson and the rest of the offense. The rest of the offense didn't show up today. Richardson, I was willing to forgive the 2 of 8, like the first 2 of 8, because that first 2 of 8, 4 of those were drops. 4 of those were drops. He put it on his wide receiver's hands to catch it. And they dropped it. Receivers kept dropping it. Guys just kept dropping passes. And even as the game went on still, guys kept dropping passes. Guys weren't open. Guys were falling. I mean, again, does not excuse the fact that Anthony Richardson, for a great part of this game, was not playing well. And it's starting to concern me just how inaccurate he is at times. But these weapons are terrible right now, man. They are playing like they are walking through motions, dude. The amount of times Alec Pierce drops passes, the amount of times Michael Pittman is falling on routes. Like, I can't, and at the times Adonai Mitchell can't get his feet down. Tyler Goodson dropped a touchdown pass today. Adonai Mitchell didn't get his feet in and would have had a touchdown pass today. Like, it can be true for both sides. It can be true for both sides. Anthony Richardson was terrible, and his weapons have been failing him in a lot of different ways. Again, I'm not excusing it. His pass completion percentage would still be bad. But if you took away the amount of drops that this team has for him, the numbers look so much better. Seriously, they do. And that is what is so abysmal about watching this offense. Because Richardson makes dumb plays. Steichen isn't helping Richardson by putting him in situations that he's not good at. And the weapons constantly letting Richardson down. Constantly. And then on top of it, the offensive line today, I mean, again, I feel a little bit for the offensive line because the Texans were blitzing the hell out of Richardson today. Really. And it's kind of one of those things where, again, Richardson and Steichen did not adapt to the fact that the Texans were constantly bringing pressure. So I'm so drained, guys. I can't even get mad. I'm so pissed off and so continue to this offense in general just looked terrible. I mean, this offense wasted an opportunity today. Steichen called another terrible game. Richardson had a terrible outing, and the weapons were outside of Downs and Taylor were complete failures. They were complete failures today. I mean, it is what it is. Let's call it what it is. I mean, that's the truth. Now let's go to the defense here real quick. Again, I give the defense for the Colts props. Again, they did not look amazing today. You did give up 100 rushing yards to Joe Mixon. But in regards to it, this was a lot more managed than it was in the first matchup. Remember, Joe Mixon had 28 carries for 162 yards last time. 25 carries this time for 102 yards. Much better this time around. And the Texans only ran for 106. So, otherwise, one of the better jobs the Colts have done this year at stopping the run. One of the better times. It wasn't perfect, but it was pretty dang good. Much better than it was. Stroud, 25 of 37 today, 285 yards, a touchdown. Again, he did enough to win. Did enough. The Colts, though, I mean, again, given everything that happened, the Colts their defense did enough to win this game. It's become a trend where, yeah, they're still giving up yardage, but they're still holding their opponents to 23 or less points most times. I mean, this was a bend or don't break defense. This was a very solid performance by the Indianapolis Colts defense. Again, it wasn't great, but it was solid. It was good enough to win this game. If the offense was not so atrocious at times today, you win this game. You win this.
Well, guys, with football season finally getting back into the swing of things, first off, we rejoice, but also, guys, when it comes to Prize Picks, this is going to be a great way for you guys, especially, to check out some of the stuff that Prize Picks has.
You can now win up to 100 times your money on Prize Picks with as little as 4 correct picks. You heard me right. Only 4 correct picks. You can win 100 times your money, guys, on Prize Picks. Be sure to sign up today and get $50 off instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed.
So if you're looking specifically for the Colts stuff, that's definitely something you guys should check out. But if you're looking for, like me, more NFL stuff, there's all sorts of stats and stuff that you can check out and make your picks. And there's definitely guys that are very consistent, like Jonathan Taylor against the Houston Texans, that you really feel like you can probably feel pretty good about overall, right? And there's some other ones where you're like, I don't know if I would take the over on that. I don't know if I would pick them to hit that margin, right? So, guys, be sure to go check out all that stuff on Prize Picks. It's only a couple examples. There's all the different odds that you could hope for when it comes to that for Prize Picks. So highly encourage you guys to go check that out, but definitely excited for this season. And hopefully you guys will be following along with us and everything with Prize Picks and what they do.
So be sure to download the app today. Use the code JUICE to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Again, download the Prize Picks app today. Use the code JUICE to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Like I said, guys, it's a great way to continue to stay in with week to week life of the NFL, specifically with your favorite team, the Indianapolis Colts. So be sure to do that. Be sure to check out Prize Picks. And remember, Prize Picks, run your game.
And that's what makes this so infuriating because, Dio Adangbo was blowing guys up today. He gave the chance for the Colts to win that game at the end. I'm sure I'm missing a few other guys. DeForest Buckner being back was huge. You had a lot of pressure on CJ Stroud today. A lot. I can't even be mad at the defense. They did good enough for us to win this game. It truly is saddening because now you look at it and you say to yourself that the Colts are now 2 games behind Houston. You still got a huge part of your schedule still coming where now you have to face the Vikings in primetime. And you had a chance to win this game, and you blew your opportunity, man. You're now 2 games behind them, and you're still only 2 games ahead of Jacksonville right now. And you're about to go into this next 4 games where you got to wonder if the team will win any of them with the way this offense is looking. So it sucks, man. It does. I'm so pissed off. I am so pissed off because Steichen is blowing this opportunity with Anthony Richardson. He is not game planning well for Anthony Richardson, and Anthony Richardson is failing himself, and at the same time, his weapons are failing him. It's just, it was a terrible day. It's just, the whole team is just, the whole offense is just a letdown. And I don't know, man. I'm so frustrated with this. You had a chance to win it, and now I got to deal with this nonsense from the AFC South Roundtable on Tuesday. But that's going to do it for this one, guys. Let me know what you think. Again, this was not solely on Anthony Richardson. This was, again, terrible play calling, terrible offensive day from everyone except 2 players. So I don't know, man. It is what it is. But that'll do it for this one, guys. Let me know your thoughts. Thank you so much. And as always, go Colts.